Have you ever found yourself agreeing to something when everything inside you is screaming no? Maybe someone asks you to do something and before you've even really thought about it, you've said yes. And then later you're thinking, why did I agree to that? Or you knew you didn't want it, but saying no felt so uncomfortable that saying yes felt easier. You might apologize when you've done nothing wrong. You might change your plans because someone else is disappointed. You might avoid difficult conversations or go along with things you don't agree with, or constantly focus on how other people feel while losing touch with what you actually want. If this sounds familiar, you might be experiencing something that's called a fawn response. And understanding it can completely change how you see these patterns. The fawn response is one way our nervous system reacts when it perceives threat. Most of us are familiar with fight, flight, and freeze. Fight says, I need to protect myself. Flight says, I need to get away. And freeze says, I need to stop. Fawn is different. Fawn says, if I keep you happy, maybe I'll be safe. So instead of protecting yourself through confrontation or escape, your system tries to create safety through pleasing, agreeing, or keeping the peace. This isn't usually a conscious choice. It's something your body may have learned over time, especially if conflict, anger, or disapproval doesn't feel safe. So your nervous system starts prioritizing connection and approval. It can become automatic. Someone asks you to do something, you feel resistance, but before you've had time to think, you hear yourself say, yeah, that's fine. And in that moment, there's often relief because the tension of the potential conflict disappears. They're happy, you're happy, everything feels okay again. But you've just overridden your own needs. And over time, that adds up. Each time you abandon your own boundaries to keep someone else comfortable, you reinforce the idea that their feelings matter more than yours. Eventually, you can become disconnected from what you actually want. You might struggle to answer simple questions like, what do you want? Because you're so used to scanning for what others need first. This is why it's not always helpful to reduce this to just people pleasing. This can make it sound like a personality trait, like you're just overly nice or you need more confidence. But often there's something deeper going on. Your nervous system may have learned that keeping others happy is how you stay safe. And when that's the case, just set boundaries isn't always easy to apply in real time. Because when you're activated, access to your own needs can just simply go offline. You might know in a calm moment that you don't want to do something. You might even plan what you're going to say. But in the moment, when someone is in front of you and there's pressure or disappointment, you just say yes. You apologize, you explain, you try to smooth it over. And later, you might feel just frustrated with yourself. Why did I do that? Why can't I just say no? But I want you to hear this clearly. This is a protective response. It's not a character flaw. That doesn't mean you don't take responsibility for your behavior. Your boundaries still matter. And other people's feelings are not yours to manage. But shame won't help you change this pattern. But awareness of it should. And change doesn't start with big confrontations. It starts with noticing. Noticing the moment you automatically say yes. Noticing what happens in your body. Is there tension, anxiety, a drop in your stomach, or the urge to fix things quickly? That is where you need to pause. You don't have to answer immediately. You can say, let me think about it, or I'll get back to you. Even a small pause creates space between the trigger and your response. And in that space, you can check in. Do I actually want this? Am I saying yes out of choice or out of fear? What would I choose if I wasn't worried about how they'd react? Sometimes the answer will still be yes, and that's okay. The goal isn't to say no more often, it's to make your yes intentional. Because when you constantly say yes while meaning no, resentment builds, exhaustion grows, and you lose connection with yourself. So if you recognize this in yourself, try not to judge it. Your nervous system learned this for a reason. It was trying to protect you. But what once kept you safe may not be helping anymore. And you can learn something new. You can learn that someone else's disappointment isn't danger, that conflict isn't the same as abandonment, that you can have boundaries and still have relationships, and that other people being uncomfortable doesn't mean that you have done something wrong. So next time you feel that automatic yes forming when you mean no, just pause. Breathe. Feel your feet on the ground and give yourself a moment. Because that pause is where you start coming back to yourself. And sometimes the most important boundary isn't saying no. It's giving yourself enough space to know what you actually want. There are plenty of regulation practices on my channel, but if you'd like a more personalised approach, you can book a one-to-one on my Linktree, which is also on my channel. If you found this helpful, please like and subscribe for more somatic and nervous system videos to help you feel more grounded and more regulated. Be kind to yourself.